I'm sure that you already tried to plan a trip and that you were thinking, where do I start? How am I supposed to gather all the information about these things? Or how should I organize all the destinations and the things to do on this trip? But today, that's what I will show you. There are a few simple things to consider, to ask yourself, and if you ask the correct questions, then it will be a lot easier to create the perfect itinerary. So let's get right into it. Hi everyone, my name is Robbie, and today I will share my practical guide on creating a great travel itinerary. Going through all the phases myself of traveling, first of all traveling with an agency, then traveling with somebody who knows what to do, and then creating my own travel itineraries, I think I got to a point where I can share a few tips on how to do this correctly. So the first tip is actually a question. I mean, a question that you want to ask yourself. Why am I traveling to this destination? What is the purpose of this trip? For example, if you want to go to a place like Bali and relax, stay on the beach and stuff like that, then it's kind of a more calm style, a relaxing style. But if you go to the Dolomites, Japan, or whatever other place, exploring, hiking, trying out stuff, searching for interesting destinations, then that's a more of an adventurous style of trip. And if you can decide which type you will want to do for the next trip, then your next sections will be a lot easier. The second step is, based on your previous decision, creating a list of to-dos and destinations. So, for example, if you chose a relaxing trip to Bali, then you would choose like a destination on the beach or multiple beaches. You want to try and relax and stay on multiple beaches to see how they are. Drinking some interesting cocktails, going to a massage, or whatever things you might find that will fit a relaxing type of travel. But if you would like to go to Japan, then I would create a list for example, Tokyo. I would go to Shinjuku, to Sensoji Temple, to Akihabara, a good ramen shop, and eat two or three types of ramen to find out which is the best one. So, depending on the trip, if it's a relaxed style, then choose a fewer amount of destinations and things to do. If it's a hiking, more adventurous type, then you can choose a bit more, but I would suggest to have around 3 to 5 main attractions for each bigger destination. So, what I mean by that is, for example, you would go to Indonesia for trying out, I don't know, 3 beaches. Why would you want to do that? Because each beach has something different and something more exclusive. So you would probably want to try out, for example, for 1 or 2 days one beach, then 1 or 2 days the other beach, and so on. So for each location, you would try to choose 3 to 5 things to do or destinations inside that location that you would want to visit. In Japan, for example, I would do the same for cities. So, for example, if you go to Japan for a multi day trip and you would like to visit Tokyo for 3 days, Kyoto for 3 days, and Osaka for 3 days, then I would choose 3 to 5 main attractions. They are either destinations or things to do for each main location: Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka. For step 3, you should research efficiently. What I mean by this is, basically, you should go to Google Maps or Google, search for all of your locations, all of the main attractions that you want to visit, and search for reviews. You can use also Trustpilot. Search for both kind of reviews: good, really good reviews, and really bad reviews. Because with those two types of reviews, you can find out what kind of destination and attraction is actually awaiting you there. You can, for example, find a bad review saying that a certain location is really busy, but you can search then specifically that location from multiple sources to see when does that location get really busy. If you can go to that location when it's not that busy, then that specific review is not applicable for you, but at least you had an incentive to look into the fact that location might get busy. Also, a smaller tip to this step is to go on Instagram, search for hashtags and geolocations, and then in the list of images, search for images that were shot with an iPhone or phones in general. You can probably tell the difference between a really good image that was created with a camera and then edited specifically for social media versus a normal snapshot created by somebody with their phone. I suggest this because looking at those images that were created with a phone, you will have a better understanding on how that specific place really looks like, how busy it gets, and you will not see a distorted, far from reality type of image. The fourth step is time management. This is the step when you want to organize all of your attractions on specific days based on their location. And you have multiple options here on how you can do this. The cheapest, but with more work, is that you get on Google Maps and put a pin for each location and attraction that you want to visit so that you can better see on the map where these attractions are positioned. So you can group them to be closer to each other so that you can have a few attractions per day that you can achieve and to visit basically in a single day. And also, this is the time after you organize your main attractions based on their location per day, you can then select two or three more smaller attractions that you could insert on each day besides the main attractions. The second option is doing the exact same thing but using a specific application. There are multiple ones, so if you know about an app that you like and you saw somewhere else, then go ahead and try it out or use your own. What I used is WanderLog. You can find that application on both Apple App Store or Google Play Store. In this application, you can basically create an itinerary where then inside this itinerary you can enter all the places you want to visit in one list. Then you can see this list in on a map, the one that I already told you to do with Google Maps. The application is doing it by itself when you add the locations in the list. So then you have a map with the pins put down. Based on that, you can rearrange all the items in the list on each day that you would want to visit them. While you are looking at the map, you know which location is located in which place. Also, the application will help you with further time management because this application gathers information from Google and knows for each location the opening hours. So you can basically see if a specific location that you want to visit on a Tuesday, for example, might not be open on a Tuesday, or it might not be open in a specific time frame where you would like to visit on that day. So you can move around these destinations and attractions accordingly. After you've finished with rearranging stuff, you would want to have a look at accommodations. This is the fifth step, and it is really important that you do it at this point and not earlier because the most important things in a travel are the destinations. So, first, you would want to tackle all the destinations and attractions that you want to visit and the things that you want to do, lay them down, group them, and after that, you can have a look at the map again and see where you have space to put the accommodations to be as close as possible to the destinations. You don't want to go to the outskirts of the city if all of your destinations or most of your destinations are in the center of the city. And I know the city centers are most likely a lot more expensive than the outskirts, but the amount of money and the amount of time that you waste going in from the outside of the city or the outskirts of the city to the city center every day when you want to do something might just get you to the same point if you would chose a city center accommodation. Just as an example, we were in Milan 2 years ago. I did the same exact mistake. I chose an Airbnb on the outside of the city, not really outside of the city, it was the outskirts. Although we should have used the public transportation, I couldn't find an application where you could buy tickets. At some point, I asked somebody in a shop how we can use the public transportation to get into the city center. But until that point, we used taxis. And taxis are not cheap. Depending on the destination, depending on the country where you go, it just might be worth looking into accommodations in the city center and trying to figure out if it's worth it. But most of the time, it's worth it. Also, it's really good for not wasting time in taxis or on buses, because you want to go to travel to a country or to a city, and you want to see as many things as possible, not to go around in cars. If you go to Japan, then it's public transportation 100%. Only if you are a really rich person, then you can do whatever you want. You can take the helicopter. But you are talking about normal level of traveling. Yeah, for Japan, public transportation. But for example, for Madeira, we rented a car. I think that's what everybody should do in Madeira. The car costs around 200 euros for 5 to 6 days, which is not cheap, and you probably can find something even cheaper than that in Madeira. But if you think about the daily cost versus how much you would pay for taxis and buses, and in Madeira, believe me, you will spend money on taxis because public transportation is not going on every little corner of the island. So if you want to really visit the whole island, you should rent a car, because for that money and for the freedom you get with the car, it's really worth it. And this way, the accommodation, it doesn't really matter anymore. You can be on the east side of the island and you will have a great time, because when you get a car, you can go to the west side of the island in just about an hour and a half. The whole island is really small. So yeah, this is really also a thing to consider when you choose your accommodation. Can you rent a car in that place, or is it feasible to do so? Or is it better to get public transportation? And even if you can get public transportation, then you should go towards getting the accommodation as close as possible to your final attractions and destinations. As a side note here, WanderLog also helps you with getting the accommodation details in when you get the emails for the confirmation from the accommodations or for the flights. WanderLog can read your emails and put all of those details in the itinerary. The sixth step is related to flights. Flights are kind of simple, but there are a few things that you need to be aware of. For example, if your flight is a direct flight, it's pretty simple. You don't really need to be careful with anything. You just go to the airplane, be sure that you get there in time, and take care of your luggage. Related to luggages, I will touch that topic a bit later. Just keep in mind that you should have a few things at hand all the time. Then, if we are talking about connected flights, then I really think you should make sure that the two flights, or between the two flights, there is enough time for you to get around the airport, getting off the plane, doing the checkout, then doing the check in, and going to the specific gate that you want. 1 hour is okay for you, but it might not be okay for your luggages. So I really suggest having at least one, but if you can, 2 hours of wait time between the two flights, because then the airport has enough time to take your luggage from one airplane and put it in the other airplane. So when you get to your final destination, you will also get your luggages. Even though I did not have this issue yet, and I hope I will not have this issue ever. But our friends did. They were coming here in Romania. They had a connection, I don't know, in Germany or something like that, but their connection was pretty short. So they were able to get to the next gate and get on the next plane, but their luggages were not transferred in time. So they got to Romania, their luggages were not there. They waited a lot of time at the airport to find out that they will not get their luggages, then arrived at our place, and after only 3 days did they get their luggages, which in this case was not that bad because they were staying at our place. They really knew a stable address that they could suggest the airport to send the luggages to. But when you go to travel, depending on your itinerary, you might not even stay at the first location more than 1 day. So then what? You would need to go and buy all the stuff you need for yourself in that place. And if that place is really expensive, then you don't have enough money to go on a travel. So it's not a good idea to have the luggages being missing in the airport. And with this idea, I would highly suggest, even though if you can make sure that there is enough time between the flights, you have with you a backpack or a carry on luggage. And in this pack, half of it, or at least 30% of it, depending on how big it is, you should have an extra pair of clothing, your toiletry, and a power bank with cables. Put this in your backpack next to your all the other things that you are carrying with you. And last but not least, the seventh tip. This is not a step, this is just a tip. Be flexible and enjoy the unexpected. You should be prepared that there will be things that will not go as planned. And in every trip, there will be something that will not go as planned. This is where you need to improvise. By improvising, I mean if you are prepared to accept the unexpected, then you will not be that frustrated when it happens. And if you are not that frustrated when it happens, then you can make a better decision. Yeah, go on, try to plan everything you can, but don't go overboard. Don't overpack. Leave some room on each day for any type of unexpected event because you might need an extra hour or two that you did not calculate it, or you just missed a train or a bus and you did not get to the specific location in time and things like that. But these are not big deal things. You are traveling. You should be enjoying the whole thing. Oh, you didn't get to I don't know, Disneyland in time. Yeah, it's a bummer. But don't make that ruin your whole travel because you had 3 days before and you will have 3 days after to do a lot of other things. If one thing is not going as you planned, then that's it. You should accept it. And if you go with this mentality, then you will know that every travel will be really good and you will enjoy everything about it. So, these were my 7 tips and steps that you need to keep in mind when you are creating your next travel itinerary. From the very beginning, when you need to decide the purpose of your travel, which will make it easier for you to decide on destinations and accommodations and also the transportation type. Because basically, laying all the things down on your map, you will see when you need to walk, rent a car, or use the public transportation. Also, speaking of vehicles, flights are also important, mostly when you have international flights or connected flights. Keep in mind to take the time between flights to have enough time to go from one gate to the other, and also to leave enough time for the airports to transfer your luggages from one airplane to the other. And also, don't forget to have a few things on you all the time. And last but not least, to enjoy the whole thing, the whole process, and the travel. So, thanks for watching. I hope all these steps will be helpful for your next travel. You know the jazz. Subscribe, comment, like, and see you in the next one. I will share my practical. Az Isten.